Hello and welcome in.
Please do not leave your luggage unattended on the station.
Welcome to the show.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of Off Field. This time presented
really
by
channeling Beyonce.
Yeah. It's the hat. I think it's giving me that Beyonce Western flair, you know?
Yeah, you got your cool free birds
Yeehaw!
on. You got your cool
Mother
free birds
effers.
on. You're good.
Did you listen to Beyonce's Western album? Was that any good? The country album?
I don't
fine.
like country music. Hate it, actually.
Hate it.
Hate.
Hated it.
It's
Hate
fine.
it. Hate it.
It has country influences. I don't think anyone's confusing her with Tanya Tucker with that album. So it's,
Yeah.
Who's Tanya Tucker?
country singer from the 80s and 90s.
Quit
Delta
bringing up
Dawn?
old stuff, please. Can we
Did you
talk
sing
about
Delta
modern
Dawn?
stuff, please?
It can't always be modern, Liv. There's a lot of great
This
art.
show is never modern. Can you guys please have my back here? Fans and viewers.
Because I could say like Taylor Swift, but she's obviously not country anymore.
Not anymore. She's
Uh,
not. Carrie Underwood.
Carrie Underwood's still pretty country. Yeah, it's got that poppy country. Like, it was fine. I mean, look, Beyonce, that one song was obviously a hit. The rest of the album's fine. It sold well. But you're not like, man, I hope she does 10 more of these.
There you have it.
Can we play a game like on off field though and have the listeners try to stump you with a really obvious 80s or 90s reference that
course.
you might not know?
Well, she
So-
hadn't heard of Back to the Future. So that was, and the Beastie Boys.
Yeah. So anyone out there, if you want to try to stump Liv and see if she's heard of something that you think might be super obvious, Back to the Future, Nirvana, Beastie Boys.
It's
That
not
was-
hard to stump me at this point.
I didn't even
guys,
make you that
so-
playlist. I said I'd make her a playlist of like essential, like late 80s.
Yeah, how am I
like,
supposed to learn and grow if he hasn't shared?
Yeah,
the
why aren't you
playlist
making the
yet?
playlist,
no, I
BK?
haven't.
You told me you would and you didn't.
You heard of Guns N' Roses?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Sort
it's
of.
got the skull with the guns and the roses.
Did you know any songs by them? By Guns N' Roses?
Like if I heard it, then I guess, but I don't know like the title.
Sweet Child of Mine. Have you heard that song?
It's got a lot of whistling at the beginning.
Maybe.
Sweet Child of Mine. Paradise City. Have you heard that song? Take me down to the
got one of the
Paradise City
most-
where the grass is green and the girls are pretty.
Yeah, that drum,
Why
that
won't
drum
you
beat at the beginning.
please
Take me home.
Pretty
Yeah,
iconic.
yeah,
I know
yeah.
that one. Yeah,
The
see?
iconic drums off the top.
Like
Yeah.
I know them, I just
No,
don't
it's an
know
iconic
them.
guitar song.
No, but off the top, it's like, it's got the kick
Oh,
in
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, that's it. You're like, oh, Paradise City.
He's a doom.
Dude,
God, I
you
didn't
get
wanna
it
get
for one
it
beat.
wrong. I didn't want to get it
God,
wrong.
it's such
And if
an
you don't know
iconic
it,
drum.
then you don't know it.
Right?
Okay.
In their
All right.
snare right after that?
Well, very interesting week in the NFL. One team remains undefeated. The Chiefs are a perfect 6-0 right now after a pretty tough game against a tough loss for the 49ers, I will say. But the Chiefs looked great, still 6-0. The Vikings fell short
Did
to
the
the
Chiefs look
Lions.
great? The Chiefs keep looking good enough to me.
I agree with that. 100% I agree with that.
But
I
that's all
also,
I
I mean,
need. That's all you
listen,
need.
you had Ayuk go out mid-game with an ACL.
Yeah, that's not good.
Not good. Debo dealing with illness. He was on some oxygen on the sidelines. I mean, they kind of are a little, the 49ers are a little banged up at the
still
moment.
no
Chiefs
Cena.
banged up as well, though.
For sure.
And the
For
Chiefs
sure.
just find a way. They just continue to find a way. Patrick Mahomes didn't throw a touchdown. Neither did Brock Purdy. 5 interceptions thrown in that game.
That's
0
an ugly football
touchdowns.
game.
But you know what's funny is Patrick Mahomes ran in a touchdown for the first time since December of
And he
2022.
bulldozed through somebody.
He dropped that dude on his ass.
I mean, holy
That's so
crap.
embarrassing.
Was more surprising that a 33-yard run was the longest run of his career.
Was it really?
Yeah, I thought for sure he would have ripped off a 40 or not like an 80 or whatever, but 33 seems. Yeah.
And it's because they thought he was going to run out of bounds,
Yeah.
and the quarterback can use that to their advantage. But I think look, the fact that Patrick Mahomes, they don't do any designed runs for him, and we saw. And we'll probably get into this, but Jaden Daniels got hurt.
Yep. And I hate to say what I think we all are thinking here, but I kind of saw that coming with his
Right.
style of play.
Exactly. So like Sean Payton, cautionary tale. Bo Nix, don't keep going to the well there. This is the first half of the season.
Yep.
Nobody remembers the first half of the season once the season's over. Do you remember who the best team of September and October was last year?
Chiefs.
No.
No, they weren't.
Yeah,
they
no,
lost
you're
it.
right.
Yeah. they
Actually,
did.
the Eagles.
Eagles. Yeah.
It was the
Right.
Eagles.
Eagles were 9-0 and lost
Right?
9 in a row
Yeah,
or whatever.
it was the Eagles.
And so, like, you don't want to win the first half of the season.
Mm-mm.
You want to be healthy in the second half. And I'm worried Jaden Daniels won't be. And they still managed to whoop the the Panthers 40-7 with
Which
Marcus
was exciting
Mariota.
as a Broncos fan who knows that we're going to take on that
That's right.
exact team next weekend. Not saying that that means
I-
anything good for the Broncos.
I did see
but
someone point out the last time the Broncos were a touchdown or more favorite, Christmas Eve a year ago against a lowly Patriots squad as they were just playing out the string.
And
Were they
we
really?
lost.
Wow.
And we lost.
Yeah.
I was at that game. It was cold. I was pissed.
I won $1,100 that day
And-
though because the Bucks hit all their overs on my parlay, but
Oh, cool.
still
What'd you do with the money?
gambled it back.
Bet it more.
Put
Do
it
you
back
ever-
in the books.
No, we pulled some of it out. Yeah,
Do you ever cash
yeah,
out?
yeah, for sure. And then I actually got a report, and I'm like, we're way up over the last few years,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How up is way?
like $3 or $4 grand.
Good for you, man.
It said that we
Badass.
Yeah.
bet
Here.
2,500 in
Who's
in,
we,
in
by
this
the way?
app. My buddy Timmy, who's in LA, can't bet legally.
You
He's
guys
an
do it together?
advisor. Yeah,
He's
call him an advisor. If anyone from the government's listening, he's an advisor. I pay for all of it. I pay the taxes. He's an advisor.
Okay, well, we've got a comment up there actually about the Denver Broncos, so we'll take a little Broncos intermission here. Broncos don't look so bad now. I thought they were going to be
Cellar dwellers.
cellar dwellers into AFC West.
Mm.
Well, let me tell you something here, partner. That was
The
supposed to be
Raiders.
my cowboy impression.
All right. Howdy,
That
partner.
was pretty bad.
Well, yeah, you are wearing a cowboy hat, so you got to improve that.
Or cowgirl hat.
Yeah, that's
Cow
true.
person.
Cow person.
Yeah, in 2024, it's got to be cow person. I
Cow
think.
day.
You-
I fear I have a cow
was
person
trying to
hat
figure out
on.
who's they.
Cow them.
It's a cow them hat.
Love those hats that they wear.
Cow
Those cow people.
creatures.
Cow people.
I
is
want to be a
crazy.
cow person when I grow up.
That's really sad that we're here. You know, in this.
I
in
think
this
we're going to
life.
swing back, though. We're going to swing back in the other direction and hopefully settle in the middle where we can just be like the 80s and the 90s. The decades you decry as being dinosaur decades, we were actually free to say what the fuck we wanted and be who the fuck we wanted to be.
That's
Nate's
right.
gonna make America great again.
No.
Watch
Three
your
weeks
mouth.
Three
Come
weeks
on, man.
from,
Settle
uh,
down
on,
there,
man.
buddy. Let's not bring
Hold
that
your
into the
horses,
show.
partner.
I think
Okay.
we have to have the purge first, and then after the purge, it'll.
I'm gonna get a little. Well, I'm gonna get personal here, but like nothing's really personal as it pertains to Liv Moods because I'm a pretty open book. But I was visiting my uncle this weekend, who's been locked up for some time. He just got relocated to Colorado, so it's the first time I've seen him probably since like when my brother was graduating high school. So it's been a very, very long time, and it was interesting talking to him about like the world because you have to think they're so removed from things that I taught him what a furry was.
What about TikTok?
Well, I'm sure he's a little tapped into some things, but I brought up a furry and he goes, "What's a furry?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah. So we're in this world now where people wear tails. They actually do their business in litter boxes. They want to be referred to as animals. Like these are things that like I'm used to now because I'm like, it's all over, it's all over social media. We
Yeah.
see it everywhere. He had no clue. And he was like, "What?"
Isn't it probably the same number? Well, maybe there's a few more people doing it now than in years past, but now there's just we see everything.
Correct.
Like there's a main line to all the weirdest, most horrible, heinous shit that exists in the world. There's troughs that bring it right to us, and
Yep.
we just fucking feed
We have
like
too much
pigs from the
access.
digital trough.
Well, think about it. When I was in elementary school, there was always the girl that was pretending to be a horse on the playground. Horse girl.
And now she's got a freaking TikTok and 1 million followers.
Now she's probably president of the furry club.
There's just I mean, look, there's accounts dedicated to like, hey, there's a terrible this that happened. Be careful. Like, if you don't want to see a crazy accident or you don't want to see someone get shot, don't
Yeah,
watch this.
right.
So at least they tell. But
But
we have
then
people
you're
that are
like,
just
I got
following police reports from all over. Like, here's here's this crazy incident in Alaska. Here's
Yeah, I
in
see a lot of
Iowa.
stuff
Like,
that I wish I didn't.
Yeah.
'cause it's
yeah,
not-
and it just jumps into your eyeballs. And if you do spend 2 or 3 seconds on it, because it's like,
then
then it comes the next. And this now my
never
For You
ending.
feed is like, what
It's
the
never
hell is
ending.
wrong with
my
me?
For You feed has some questionable things where I'm like, God dang, why did I click on that? Because I don't like. You have to go back the other way, and then it's
Yeah.
like watching as many Broncos
Yeah.
or football things just to calm it down.
Reset the algorithm.
Yeah, I got to reset the algorithm.
It
or
was,
fuck
Fucking
into account.
algorithms. I'm so sick of them.
I know.
But the other, I guess the other side of it too is it's allowed us to connect with people that we might lose
it's not
touch
all
with.
bad.
I got off the plane from New Orleans, saw a friend that I had gone to summer camp with, went to a nearby high school, lots of mutual friends. We've been friends on Facebook forever. I didn't realize she has a son who's a freshman at DU, but she gets off and she's like, "Oh, were you in New Orleans for the Broncos game? We were watching it last." Like, she knows what I do. I haven't talked to her probably since college.
She sees you online.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
sees me online, and I know that she has a bunch of kids, and 2 of her boys were here. She got, and it was like we hadn't missed a beat, and even though we probably haven't talked since college. And I was like, "Oh, if you want to go to a Rockies game, I can help you get to, or whatever," because kids are at DU. So like, there's a plus to it, and we also know about all the famous people dying because there's so many more famous people, or
Yeah.
the people you might have grown up with, or like, I say, our parents and their, and people that are older that may not have ever known because they moved away. Now they're like, oh, so-and-so, my friend's little sister died at whatever. So I don't want to get too specific. I'm saying,
well, you just
keep
did.
track of it.
I don't want to get too specific after getting too
I
specific.
don't want to get morbid about how people pass, but like older people pass, right? Natural causes, whatever. I'm just saying we know
whatever.
I went to the funeral yesterday.
If you let Brandon talk long enough, he's going to put himself into a weird position.
Or just deeper hole.
Or
the hole
get us
gets
back
deeper.
to where we were going. Like
there we go.
The undefeated
let's talk
Chiefs.
about so we had a lot of crazy things happening. We had the Chiefs. They will still remain undefeated. The Vikings no longer undefeated after being defeated by the Lions.
That was a great game.
It was a very, very great game. Another conversation, obviously, as a woman, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I will also never celebrate the injury of a player, but Deshaun Watson is no longer playing. He has a torn Achilles, and the fans were celebrating him being carted off the field. However you feel about him, you hate to see injuries like that.
Were they celebrating the injury, or were they celebrating he's not our quarterback anymore? Like, not the severity of it, like, oh, let's get DTR.
I think there's probably both. I think it was
versus
I
want him to be hurt.
Based on social media, there were a lot of people that were genuinely expressing excitement that they felt like that was maybe like a
karma,
or this is what happens when I saw a couple tweets of people kind of poking fun at. And listen, I mean, people are entitled to feel how they feel about it. I have stayed away from a lot of the conversations surrounding that particular individual because I think, especially as a woman, it kind of puts me in a tough spot of like,
you talk about the For You feed. Two things on that. I saw a post the other day say he has 23 settled cases and only 16 touchdowns since getting to Cleveland. So I saw that. And then there were plenty yesterday about his rehab for obviously an Achilles.
Oh, he's going to get a lot of massages.
That were much more explicit about massages and all of that, which the internet's going to do its thing on that.
Of course.
And that made me chuckle.
I'll say like
full transparency, I laughed.
Funny's funny.
The response of a crowd, like a hive mind in the moment, is interesting because it's been quite a saga there, right? So much drama. The Cleveland Browns fans are very passionate football fans. They want to win. And they haven't won in a long time, and they have been through the ringer, right? And then you sign this guy and you give him a guaranteed contract of $260 million, right? The most lucrative contract in the history of the league with the most guaranteed money, while all these lawsuits are pending and open. It was absolutely insane. And so I imagine half of the fans at least were like, what the fuck did you do that for? Right off the bat, and then watched him play really bad football since he actually took over. This was after he had to sit out almost 2 years, right? And so he's just lost the thread when it comes to being a good football player, partially because of all the drama that was off the field. I think that it probably wasn't them cheering because this human being was injured. It was probably just a relief that this saga seems to have reached an end.
Well, did you hear what they were chanting?
No.
You deserve it.
Oh.
So look,
so it's kind of, to me, I was like,
but
that seems pretty. That seems pretty pointed.
Wow.
That seems pretty pointed at a lot of other stuff.
Do you think he did deserve it, Liv?
No, I don't think it's not my place to decide what people deserve based on what they've done in their lives. Because again, I also am a criminal justice minor, and I do know that there is an element of this where innocent until proven guilty, right? I get that part of it. And I get there's still stuff that's been settled, whatever. But then there's also just the human nature of myself that goes, there was a lot of people with very similar stories. And to be honest, I think that the best way to go about this would have been, hey, you're not playing until we can get all of this stuff. Because there was just recently another story that came to light that I read the article. It was very detailed. It was very sickening. It was very hard to read. And if there's truth to that statement, yeah, he shouldn't be playing on a football field right now at all.
There's a theory that if you have a routine, whatever that is, if you're the guy, especially if you're depending on the sport, you go out all the time. Like when you're on the road, you're in basketball and you're out till 3-4 in the morning. That's just who you are, right? And there's some legendary Hall of Fame players that
partied their balls off.
And then went out and dropped 40 in a game and playoff game and all this. And then when you don't do that, maybe you don't play as well. So I'm not condoning any of his behaviors at all, but he played his best football when he was going through constantly, we believe to be finding different massage therapists and everything that went along with it. All that is behind it, and his mojo is, and I'm not saying that they're completely related, but
his secret's out.
Yeah, and all of his, so it's like he's battling that constantly. which he has earned, and it's totally changed all of his routines. Also, I'm not saying that was acceptable behavior. I'm just saying that was part of his week to week process, if you will. And it's clear that he's not the same. And then the other side of it too is like with fans, when your guy does something, you're probably going to be a little more, depending on how heinous it is, because they were your player that got drafted. I'm saying versus
America loves a redemption story.
No,
too.
I'm talking about the local fan base.
Yeah.
If he got through all of this but stayed with Houston and then was on the field, you have people that are conflicted, like,
Right.
whatever, he's not in jail.
Yeah.
Versus, well, he wasn't our guy. Sort of like Russell Wilson, who didn't commit any crimes by any means. Just stopped being as good at football that we know of. But he was Seattle's guy, so they put up with all of the Russ everything. He's not Pittsburgh's guy. He's not Denver's guy. And so I think that there's like Cleveland, like we didn't ask for him. We wanted to draft our next great quarterback.
Yeah.
You took a chance on a guy that has a very checkered.
That's exactly
past.
it. The Browns took a chance on a guy that people were already apprehensive about from the like off-field stuff that was going on. Then, to have to look past that a little bit and accept that this is your quarterback and then he's not delivering on the football field either. It's like, okay, what was this for?
They should be more mad
torturous.
that their football people screwed up the Baker thing. Because clearly he's got plenty of good football left in him. He was their guy, finally a number one pick that hits. When you go back to when they came to Cleveland, returned to Cleveland from Tim Couch on, all those first rounders that didn't work, whether it was Brandon Weeden or Brady Quinn or go down the list.
Well, lots of times you gotta
working.
Yeah.
But you gotta move on to make it work sometimes. Like
something or get better football people.
Yeah, that's true.
Freddie Kitchens wasn't working.
Jameis Winston after the game defending Deshaun Watson. I don't know if you saw his clip. So did Myles Garrett. But Myles Garrett, your character witnesses, maybe not the best guys there. Myles Garrett pulling a guy's helmet off and smacking him over the head, and Jameis Winston, I don't know. I just wonder what the feeling is like in the locker room from the everyman there towards Deshaun. I mean, he's your quarterback, of course. He's working hard with everybody else, so you do feel that brotherhood. But, there's guys in that locker room who have daughters, who have sisters, who
Mama's
have
boys.
family, who are masseuses. Like, what do you think about this guy? What are your feelings about it? But he's done now. And so maybe, I don't know. I mean, does he come back next year? And
do you think that he's got a future in the NFL? Because I don't think he does.
I don't know how he gets past. It's kind of, you're battling these multiple fronts, right? Are we going to hear about other lawsuits coming if I'm another team? You can obviously write that into the contract. I believe it's in this contract. If this is a new lawsuit that he didn't tell them about, if he told them about, oh, there's more stuff coming, then he's maybe protected. But if this whole thing comes to light, or as more comes out, the Browns can maybe get out from under it. If I'm another team, similar to, and it's not apples to apples, but all the stuff that was around Colin Kaepernick, people just kind of quit taking chances and they quit even working him out. And he's suing the league and this and that. Like, we'll just go find another quarterback. And so I think he's going to have a really hard time unless, it's all behind him and like he becomes a pastor kind of thing. And like he and his wife have all these kids, like it seems like there's a good chance we may never see him play NFL football again.
Well, there was a redemption story this week involving another creeper who had sexual misconduct allegations against him, was cut and just got re-signed and became the hero
in the Bay.
And we talked about this last week. Brandon McManus. He was signed by the Green Bay Packers and he hit the game-winning field goal against the Texans as time expired and was hoisted as a hero by his new teammates.
But I guess I didn't even realize that McManus was over there. Like, I didn't even.
He just got signed this week.
Right up the street.
He hits a game-winning field goal as time expires, and now all his sins are forgotten. I mean,
And do I think that there's maybe an element to some football fans that could have maybe had short-term memory on the
Deshaun Watson was balling,
correct.
It would be a whole lot different.
If Deshaun Watson was playing good football and helping the Browns go towards a successful season, helping them win games, I think there are some football fans out there that would have short-term memory on the off-field issues.
Probably.
However, if you add the off-field issues in with the fact that he's just not playing well, now it's like, okay.
What good are you to us now?
Now you're just a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I get it.
I guess the difference, and I'm not, wrong is wrong, is there were allegations against Brandon. And the investigation found there were no charges. There was no police, even it didn't get anywhere.
It was
near.
A civil lawsuit.
It was a civil lawsuit.
It wasn't a criminal lawsuit.
It wasn't a criminal lawsuit.
And it was either dropped or settled. I don't know what.
I think it was dropped.
Okay. I wonder if there was some payment going on. Who knows? It
I
was
know.
some pretty explicit crap in that. Did you read the allegations?
I just
Like
read-
the lawsuit?
No, I didn't read the
Okay.
allegations of the lawsuit.
Yeah,
so.
it was
Yeah.
it was creepy behavior.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like I don't know. It was just made up out of thin
Ye-
air. I'm gonna the didetails of this made it seem like these women were not lying. But I don't know. I wasn't there.
I don't even want to go down this road. Never mind. What are the other games we've got?
Other games, well, we can talk about the former Broncos quarterback that had an opportunity to start and
kinda balled out.
took down the probably super sore loser right now in Aaron Rodgers.
That was the shoulda, coulda,
Two
woulda
passing
bowl.
touchdowns, one rushing touchdown for Russell Wilson. He looked pretty. I think he looked the way that Denver hoped he would look.
Yeah, the Steelers and the media took him down. Aaron Rodgers complaining about the media.
What did he say?
I'm gonna see if I can send it to Jay so we can hear it. But he basically said when asked, I can paraphrase. When asked, what can you guys do to get better? He goes, well, we can stop listening to you guys. It's like, well, if you're letting the media bother you, that's not gonna help you keep George Pickens. from
Rodgers,
looking
you
like
don't
a
seem to hate
star.
the media
Yeah.
all that much when you're on Pat McAfee's show once a
Mhm.
week.
Oh, I think he comes on. What's his day that he does? it?
Wednesdays, maybe?
Wednesdays, I think.
It's gonna get somber and dark on the Pat McAfee show. He's just gonna be
I
airing
mean,
his.
for God's sake, him pretending like he's got a problem with the media, you never stay out of it.
Well,
Well, he won't even give an interview to a legacy media member. He'll just go to Pat McAfee and friendly shows to him because he doesn't trust or believe in the
he
media.
doesn't go on Colin Cowherd show anymore, or Dan Patrick, or Jim Rome,
Yeah.
or any of those guys that he used to. Any of the ESPN shows.
I
beyond
think
Pat
he
McAfee.
contradicts himself quite a bit
Yes, sure.
because
He's smarter than all of
there's
us, so.
times where sometimes he doesn't believe in science and medicine, and other times he does.
He does his own research. So-
Well, he consults with Joe Rogan.
Wikipedia,
and he does
Joe Rogan is a good friend of his. Okay.
which he's entitled to how he feels for sure, but
I'm
And-
not saying that we can't do our own research, but I feel like doctors have been doing research for a long time. So I'm going to lean.
When
in that
you
direction.
break your leg, what do? Do you go on the internet?
my bone is sticking out of my skin. What should I do? Hello.
Hey, some
Yeah.
people say
Dip it in Jello. Just that's really the way to
just
do
put
it.
a little tussin on it.
Yeah.
Dip it in Jello is crazy.
Uh,
That's the
Devontae
thing,
Adams,
though.
how about this? Devontae Adams loses to the Steelers, gets traded, loses to the Steelers, all in 7 days.
oh, really?
Yeah, Sunday
Wow.
to
Oh,
Sunday.
freaking
Wow.
A.
And that'll happen sometimes in the. Well, I guess he never played back to back in the division, but that would be cool to see.
Can you imagine though being a young player, right? And you on that team, and Aaron Rodgers gets signed, right? And so you come in thinking, oh my gosh, this guy is going to be the answer.
Like
He's-
Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, like Garrett Wilson, like this guy's going to lead me to the promised land here. And he comes in, and ever since he's been there, it's been nothing but drama and turmoil. You get your head coach fired. He brings in Slapdick Hackett to come and call plays, and he doesn't fucking know how to do that. Then he gets demoted, but he's still the offensive coordinator somehow. And then the interim coach has to kowtow to Aaron Rodgers and his approach. And then he brings in Devontae Adams, and Devontae looks lost out there. I mean, Aaron Rodgers continues to be someone who energetically seems to be bringing everybody down, whereas he was supposed to lift all the rising tide that lifted all the boats. It's just the rising tide that lifted all the corpses. That's what it looks like.
So were the media to blame for his 2 interceptions this most
Oh
recent
yeah.
game?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Not the Steelers defense. Not Mike T and his crew, or TJ Watt coming off the edge, lighting dudes up.
No, it's the media.
These guys are paying too much attention to us and the louder media in New York that are really
Well, then guess what,
Critical.
media members? Turn your shit up. Volume to the fucking sky.
just talk. You don't
Just
have to,
talk.
You don't have to even.
He's listening.
You also
That's
don't
what it
have to-
says.
You don't
He's
have
listening.
to.
He's
He's
probably
clearly
watching
watched off field.
Yeah.
You don't have to amp it up. Just keep talking because they are giving you enough to criticize. I saw one meme that said, "Here's Devontae Adams highlights from yesterday," and it was him running out of the tunnel and then making a tackle on the interception,
Oh damn.
and then it just threw up a Jets logo.
Oh my gosh. Well, Russell Wilson looking pretty solid. So
But it's
congratulations
like also
to
like
him.
the Steelers. Sorry to interrupt you, but the
No, you're
Steelers
good.
play a different brand of football than the Broncos.
Yeah.
There's different ways to win, right, in the NFL. And every coach at the beginning of the week describes to his team how they're going to win.
Yep.
And Mike Tomlin's how is a lot like Pete Carroll's how. And Sean Payton's how is very different. And so he didn't feel comfortable with Russell at the helm because they play different brands of football.
Yeah.
But that's a brand of football that Russell can win with. You know, that Steeler football.
I love Mike. And Mike Tomlin to me is for sure, without a doubt, my favorite head coach in the NFL.
He's very likable.
I
and
love Mike Tomlin.
I showed you guys a clip of Brandon Marshall coming in Najee Harris's presser. He also was in Mike Tomlin's presser. He said, "Was it one of the boldest decisions you made to decide to start Russell Wilson?" And Mike goes, "That's why I'm well compensated," and got up and walked off. No,
mic drop.
Mike
That's a mic drop right there.
Mike T is
I love him.
Is a great coach. Never had a losing season. You would have thought with Big Ben they might have gotten a little bit farther, but guys like Peyton Manning and
they were
Tom
still
Brady
winning games with Kenny Pickett.
Well, absolutely.
I
That's
mean,
what
baby
it
hand
shows you. But the one thing you saw, and for all the Justin Fields supporters, and you and I obviously know one that likes Justin Fields more than you should, but Russell Wilson, again, it kind of goes back to he didn't accidentally throw 300 touchdowns in Seattle. The guy can sling the football. Doesn't mean he's going to run the offense the way every coach wants, like you just said. But when he's allowed to kind of be himself, and I think George Pickens might be a true number one receiver after seeing some of the plays that he's made, not just here, but kind of throughout this season. Russell Wilson throws a better football. Their offense is going to be better. The Steelers are going to have something to say about the AFC playoff race if they stay healthy enough. Because Russ is an upgrade from Justin Fields, even if Justin's a better runner at this point.
And a bold move to make a change when you're 4-2. That's hard.
That's what I was going to say. I think that's what makes it bold is that it's not like Justin Fields was this, failing starting quarterback
like
right
Rodgers.
now. He wasn't like Aaron Rodgers. He was helping this team win. He was playing really great football. So to make that switch to Russell Wilson,
he wasn't playing really great football. They were winning games, and he was playing well enough. He wasn't. They scored 37 points. That was the most they've scored all year. They scored 13 here and 1 touchdown. That's not great football. I get the Broncos defense. He was playing winning football. To your point, he wasn't throwing interceptions, wasn't fumbling the ball. But to beat the Chiefs, you're not going to beat them 13-6 like you beat the Broncos. You're going to need to score points.
But it is dangerous to upset the chemistry that exists because football isn't like Bo Nix, for example. Is he playing awesome? No. But they're winning, right? And they got some momentum going. And so I was on a team when we were 7-4 and our quarterback was benched. And actually we were 7-3 going into this Thanksgiving game against the Chiefs. And the word came down. Actually, Adam Schefter reporting that if we lose this game, Jake Plummer will be benched for Jay Cutler. So going into the game, that was like the media buzz. We lost the game. In the locker room after the game, all the media, which would always go to Jake's locker because he's a starting quarterback, they went straight to Jay's locker and waited for him. That's when I knew that the media is not on our side. They want to stick a fork in Jake. They want to bury him and move on to the next young, hot quarterback. And I remember giving an impassioned interview in the locker room to Eric Goodman, who was a reporter, and he still is, and talking about how I thought that was bullshit, that they did that. I was sticking up for my guy because I saw him get buried by the media. So I understand Aaron Rodgers a little bit like feeling that heat from the media because they can start a drumbeat sometimes that pulls in the fans and pulls in people to have a conversation before it should happen. So you got to think, though, Mike Tomlin has his fingers on the pulse of that team and knows what they need. And obviously Russell Wilson has the pedigree that Jay Cutler didn't at that time.
Sure.
Jay Cutler was green. He was a rookie. We didn't know what kind of player he was going to be. You know what you're getting in Russell Wilson. And if, as a coach, Mike Tomlin knows how he wants to win, again, about the how, and thinks this guy's going to improve that, then it's the right move. Russell 1-0 as a Steelers starter.
And they're running the ball well. Arthur Smith, failed head coach his first time out. I guess we'll see if he gets another shot. But
VJ
called some good plays in Tennessee, and that's what helped him get that job. And he obviously is helping use what Russ does well with what their offense does well. And you get the good running backs with Najee and Warren, solid tight end there. I think if you can see more of that, and I guess we don't know how good the Jets are right now, then the Steelers, I think, become the team to beat even in that division because the Bengals are whatever they are.
Yeah.
The Browns are – I think the Browns are more exciting with DTR than what they were, and the Ravens are the Ravens. But the Steelers with Russ playing like that, and I get it's one game, makes AFC North and I think the AFC more interesting.
Isn't it funny how every head coach who's a head coach and fails and goes back to the coordinating role and does well there, after a year or two, it's like he's going to be a head coach again. Why can't some guys just be good coordinators and just do that? Like, why do we always have
I would love that for Vance Joseph.
Exactly.
I don't
just
want
stick
him
around.
to be a head coach.
Like Steve Spagnuolo, right?
Yeah.
He was a head coach that didn't work out, and now he's just been a coordinator forever, and he's just fucking awesome at it.
Mhm.
And they stay together. They grow together. They win Super Bowls. They're heading for their third, or they're trying for their third in a row, and it's because they keep the band together. And so let's keep the fucking band together, guys.
I agree.
I think the one thing that we've seen a little more of in recent years, and you look at Ben Johnson being a good example, is guys aren't in as big a hurry. Some coordinators, if they're in a good situation, similar to the guy that stays in school for another year, like, you know what? Let me see if I can win with this team.
No, that guy fails all his classes and has to stay back.
Are
you talking about the
like football player,
athletes?
the
Okay.
athlete that like?
I thought you meant like the kids who have to repeat 8th grade.
No, like Justin Herbert, who wanted to play with his brother, so he stuck around one more year at Oregon. Especially in an NIL world, we're certainly seeing college kids that are going to do that. Some Travis Hunter said he'll stay for $40 million. So
is that what he said?
Buffs fans, if you want to get some
40?
cash together, yeah, 40.
He didn't say that.
He did.
Oh my God!
I think he said on
what's he making
RG3's
now? You think
podcast? Less than that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, how many brands do you really associate?
I know Shador's making 4, right?
Shador's making between like 4 and 6. Yeah,
$1 million.
Yeah, it's pretty good for a college kid.
Yeah.
And for kids out of college, it's good for all
kids.
all people.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I was gonna say it'd be good for me.
Yeah.
But I think that we saw it with Ben Johnson. I'm not saying VJ won't take a job. There's also going to be some interesting situations potentially open, like the Eagles. That's a really good roster. And the Cowboys, that's a really good roster. You got to deal with all the Jerry stuff and everything that goes with being the Cow. If the Cardinals were to open up, and we'll see how that.
It's Cow people, man.
The Cow people.
Dallas Cow people.
Dallas Cow people. But I think you're seeing some coordinators that will stick around for another year in a good situation more so than you used to. Like
Dan Quinn did it for a couple of years, right?
DQ did it for a couple of years. He goes to a place.
DQ and
Dairy Queen.
Yeah, he goes to a
Burger
place
King and Dairy
where he knows
Queen.
he has the second pick, some good pieces up front, and they're obviously playing well because you lose Daniels and they didn't miss a beat yesterday.
So tonight we have some Monday night. We've got 2 Monday night football matchups,
Do we
like
this? Somebody asked us, do we like it? I think I do.
I kind of do. I
Yeah,
kind of do.
if one game sucks, you just go to the other one. Yeah.
So we have 2 tonight that I actually would argue are important games for Broncos fans to be tuning into. Obviously, the Broncos right now are 4-3. The Chargers will be taking on the Cardinals. Chargers are 3-2. So I think there's an opportunity here for the Broncos to be second in the AFC West if the Cardinals can get it done at home. So that game matters to me a little bit. And then on the other side of it, we've got the Ravens coming up behind the Panthers matchup. And we just saw the Panthers get demolished by the Commanders. So hopefully that's a good, I don't want to say an easy dub for the Broncos this upcoming weekend, but one that is very achievable, very manageable.
They should take care of business.
I agree. They should take care of business. And then we've got the other Monday night football matchup, which is a soon-to-be opponent for the Denver Broncos, which is the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Why this could be important is, the Broncos were able to get a pretty convincing win. Their offense arguably looked the best that it's ever looked against this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. So, if the Bucs can keep it competitive against the Ravens, it gives Broncos fans as well as Broncos players and, watching film and studying and preparing for the Ravens game an opportunity to look for holes in this Ravens team. As good as they are, Lamar Jackson is great. They have been beaten this season in games that they probably should have won. So
like
this might be a good,
Yeah.
these might be good games for Broncos fans to watch just in terms of the AFC West as well as who the Broncos have on the remainder of their schedule. Ravens are coming up and it's not going to be an easy game, but tonight you may be able to see some holes in their system that the Broncos can take advantage of.
Yeah, the Ravens playing some of the best
Trust.
football in the league right now. They
Correct.
lost their first 2 and they've won 5 straight or 4 straight?
4 straight.
4 straight. And so that's going to be a real test. The Broncos have been able last week against the Saints to do some things with Bo running the football, design runs that they're not going to be able to do against the Ravens. And
Right.
I hope they don't try it because they got to keep Bo healthy.
Yeah.
And we saw with Jane Daniels, he got hurt. He got a rib injury. Guys who get rib injuries are guys who run the football and get hit in the ribs. Those are the guys who get hit in the ribs. The more you run, the more you're going to get hit. The Ravens are not going to allow you to do those types of things. So watching the Ravens and figuring out how you're going to beat them from inside the pocket. I mean, of course, you're going to get out a little bit here and use your legs and your natural athleticism. But I think the more Bo relies on that, the less sustainable that becomes.
Yeah.
He's got to learn to win from in the pocket. And so the Ravens are going to be a huge test, and that's on the road. And then the following week is on the road at Geha Stadium, formerly Arrowhead.
That is such
So-
a horrible name.
I think it's an acronym.
It sounds like you're going to.
Do you know what it's an acronym for?
No, it's something health related.
Yeah, it's Government Education Health Association or some shit like that. It's
No one needs to learn about healthcare.
Well, I mean, it's a weird. It's Arrowhead,
It's
right?
their money.
Yeah, no, it is. It's
But
money.
Yes, it's weird sounding.
But the Broncos
Good,
have an
I love it.
opportunity here to take care of business this weekend and go into that 2-game road swing at 5-3.
Yeah.
And if they
which would
won
be
one of
huge.
those, remember the last 2-game road swing they had, and everyone's like, if they split those, they'll be lucky. They won both. They're a pretty good road team.
3
right now.
wins in a row on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take it.
So let's take care of business this week. Of course, don't overlook your
Agreed.
opponent, because the worst thing in the world will be to lose at home against this fucking team. They are really bad.
This is the definition of a
If
trap
that-
game.
If that is what happens,
This
I'm gonna
team,
freaking
they
lose
give
my
up
mind.
34.7 points per game.
Giro Avero's
being snorted.
rolling over in his grave there as a defensive coordinator. I mean, I guess he's
34 points a
Is he
game.
dead?
no,
Yeah,
no, I know he wanted to leave. I know,
dead man walking.
I know he wanted to leave, and Dave Canales made him stay. Sean Payton wanted to hire him here, but he wanted to leave because they just fired his best friend. He wanted to leave last year because there were other opportunities out there, but he is stuck. They traded the best player away. They let Jeremy Chin walk.
So
and
he's
they're
actually not
and then-
rolling over in his grave.
And then
but
then his remaining best
He's
player.
very much alive.
He's very much alive. Their remaining best player, Derek Brown, is out for the year too. So it's like you lose Brian Burns in a trade. Derek Brown's hurt. Jeremy Chin.
And even their best
walks.
players are like, who are those people, right? Like,
I mean, Brian Burns is a first-round pick.
I know.
Derek
I'm
Brown
just saying,
was number 7.
not
Anyway,
household names.
not household names. You have to really pay attention to the draft.
Yeah,
but,
they're in a bad way.
and they took J.C. Horn 1 pick ahead of Pat Surtain Jr.
Yeah.
I feel like the Broncos chose more wisely.
Yes, they did.
yeah, they did.
So the Panthers getting whipped by everybody, 34.7 points a game. They only score 15 points a game. So the Broncos should be able to handle that. And then
Will we have PS2 back for that game?
Yes.
Do we imagine?
I would say like let him rest another week. I would.
I mean, I don't think we need him against
The
Carolina.
understanding
saying.
I had talking to people very much in the know was that he felt fine, and had they played Sunday, he easily could have played Sunday.
Yeah.
He was very disappointed to not be on the trip, not just to support his team, but his family. Before a lot of them ended up in Florida, they're all from Louisiana, so he had 40 relatives at the game.
Damn.
Still went to the game, and he was here in Denver
Oh.
FaceTiming him.
When
So,
I've got a similar story. When I was playing in NFL Europe, I tore my MCL, and I had to fly back and spend 4 weeks in Birmingham, Alabama, rehabbing
with
it.
Dr. James Andrews.
Yeah, but I didn't get seen by him
Yeah.
because I just was. They contracted out Health South to do all the extensive rehab surgeries and things like that. So if it was more than like a 1 or 2 week thing, they flew you back to fucking Alabama, and I stayed at a Shoney's Inn in Birmingham for 4 weeks. But my family had planned a trip to Scotland because we're Scottish, and they were going to see me play the Scottish Claymores in Scotland. It was going to be like this huge Jackson, family reunion thing. And I was stuck in fucking Birmingham at the Shoney's Inn, and my family still went out to Scotland anyway and had a trip to Europe, and I was stuck in a hotel room and rehabbing my
That'd be
MCL.
depressing.
It was very depressing.
Yeah, I would have been depressed.
Did they enjoy the trip?
They did.
Okay, good.
They still went to the game.
How'd your team play?
I forgot.
It'd be funny if they're all wearing your jersey. They're like,
Yeah,
11-8.
I think we won.
Okay, good.
But anyway,
Well, I guess now I can ask you guys your predictions for the game that is the games that are this evening. Obviously, as Broncos fans, it would be wonderful to have the Chargers lose tonight. Do you think it is possible for the Cardinals to upset the Chargers right
Is
now?
Marvin Harrison playing with the concussion? Junior. Marvin Harrison Jr.
Let's see if he's on the injury report here. He is no longer on the injury report.
Okay, so he's cleared protocol. That certainly gives the Cardinals a much better chance. I just still don't think this Cardinals team's very good. I think it's kind of, I don't say smoke and mirrors. James Conner's a good player. Marvin Harrison, I think, is going to live up to the billing. Kyler's the X factor because it's like, does he have it? In a lot of games, he's shown that he has. That win over the Niners being one of them. I just don't trust the rest of their roster. It's not a good roster, but it won't blow my mind. I'm still picking the Chargers.
Chargers are initially opened as 2.5-point favorites. Right now, in most books, they are only a 1-point favorite.
I think that's because Marvin Harrison's healthy now.
it's happening in Arizona or in LA?
It's in Arizona.
Okay, yeah.
Where there will be more Cardinals fans because there aren't Chargers fans really these days. So
There aren't. Were there ever? Have you ever met a Chargers fan in the wild?
in San Diego, yeah, for sure there were in San Diego.
Some.
You see plenty of Broncos fans at those games. There's no question.
Qualcomm.
Yeah.
That was the worst stadium in the world.
In 2012, when they had that great Monday night comeback, being there for that, there were, I mean, you could see the orange. It was bold, but
Oh,
there
yeah.
were, but now there's even less,
Well, because they're in LA, nobody cares about football in LA.
except Raiders fans. And so the Raiders fans were at the Rams game yesterday, but their team sucks. So
Mm.
you wouldn't, but it was a Raiders home field advantage.
I think the Chargers will take it though.
Me too.
They're playing some good football. Smash mouth football, kind of old school, 2 tight end sets, base sets with a fullback. I mean, they're doing stuff that is kind of out of style in the NFL, but it's effective, and they're able to control the pace and set Justin Herbert up because this is one of the elite, more probably top 5 elite arm talent quarterbacks in the league, and if you can establish the run with a guy like that, you're going to be able to open up some really big passing lanes for him and allow him to really eat as this season goes on. So I think what they're doing early in this season is really going to help him late.
I think we saw it against the Broncos when the game was still a game, but especially early. There's a reason they were 11 of 14 or whatever on third down to start. Was on third down, you needed him to throw, but you only needed him to throw about 4 yards. And Justin Herbert's a guy that, since he got in the league, could throw for 4,000, 4,500 yards. And I asked Sean Payton about it. I didn't get to ask Vance about it, but when you've got a guy that can do that, it's different versus, we know they want to run the ball. That's because they can't pass that well.
Right.
Or they pass the ball all over the yard, but they don't run. When you're running the ball and you have, like you said, a top 5 kind of quarterback, it's going to make them very tough to beat if those receivers can catch a football when he puts it on them.
And they got a bunch of receivers whose names you've never heard of, like, Ladd McConkey is like their leading guy.
Gotta watch Georgia football, I guess.
I mean, this kid, he's a Hawaiian kid who was catching balls on Riley Moss in that game. I forgot his name.
I mean, Johnston was a first-round pick, but I don't think he's a household name.
Right.
Don't be disrespectful.
Yeah. Such a jerk.
Frog up or whatever they say. What do you say?
Oh, he's frog up. That's what they say.
That is not what we say.
They don't say that.
What do you guys say? Horn.
Put your frogs up.
Put your frogs up. Put them up.
Frog up.
Frog
What?
up, yo.
Did you actually know that the actual, like, the logo for TCU is not a horned frog? It's actually a horned lizard.
Yeah,
They're deceiving
because
you.
horned frogs aren't that scary looking.
And do you know what they do when they feel threatened?
Poison you?
No, they shoot blood out of their eyes.
Oh, they shoot blood, which can kill you.
Wow.
At least it's a real thing. Like the Jayhawks have made up birds. So what do I know?
The running back coach for the 49ers right now, Bobby Turner, who's been with the Shanahan system for many years, was there when I was there. And one game we were playing, I think it was in Kansas City. It was in December. It was very cold. And Bobby Turner was the guy who was on the sideline who would always tell us what the personnel group is. So all the offensive skill position players would gather around Bobby Turner and await the call. It was zebra, it was base, it was tiger, it was eagle, whatever it was. But we listened to Bobby, and then whatever Bobby would say, we would run on the field. The personnel packages that were affiliated with it. Anyway, one game before the game, Bobby got a really bad nosebleed. It would not stop. They tried everything to stop his bloody nose. They tried to lay him down. It wouldn't stop. And he's like, fuck it, I'm going to be out there coaching. And so he's on the sideline coaching this game, blood pouring out of his nose.
Like he's in a boxing match.
Well, he had a cup, and he had stuff stuffed in it, so he kept spitting in this cup, and there was blood all over the sideline. And Bobby was in there just still doing his job, right? And I'm standing next to him, and I see him blinking, and blood starts coming out of his eyes.
Are you kidding?
Was
me?
it like some crazy sinus thing that
Crying blood. And that's how much Bobby T cared about his job. And sometimes I think back about that. Like, if anybody cared about anything in the world as much as football coaches care about winning football games, cancer would be cured. We'd be fucking living on Mars. Like, people would not be hungry anymore. Poverty would be solved if everyone cared about anything the way Bobby T cares about coaching his football team.
I love it.
Yeah.
Although as Elton John
I care.
pointed out in the song,
Do you care
Rocket
about
Man,
off-field? Would you be here if you were crying blood, Liv?
No, she would
If
not.
you had a bloody nose, would you be spitting in the cup?
He said she would not. And then he goes, I wouldn't be.
Well,
Yeah,
I would.
I would be here for sure.
If you're bleeding, if you're bleeding from your eyeballs, or if your nose is just
I'd be right here with
spewing
you
blood,
guys.
I would ask that you not be here with us.
There's nowhere in the
BK
world
doesn't
I'd
want
rather
you
be.
here.
First of all, you get all over the chair, the mic.
Well, I thought I looked at our doctor like, and he's like, yeah, there's nothing I can do. Like, he wants to be out
You
here.
talk about living on Mars, though. Elton John very clearly in the song Rocket Man said, even if you brought your kids to Mars, there'd be no one there to raise them.
Yeah.
If you did. And I'm thinking, if you're going to take the time to bring your kids to
No,
Mars,
I'm not into the Mars thing myself.
but you can probably afford a nanny to come with you to Mars to help with the kids when you're doing space work in Mars.
Elon Musk is super into Mars, which I think is pretty funny. Because, like, who the fuck cares about Mars? Who wants to go to Mars? Who wants to leave? Earth is perfect. This is like
Yeah,
where we're
perfect.
supposed to
Wow.
be, right?
Yeah, I don't understand why.
Yeah, I'm not in a hurry to go to
You're
Mars.
gonna die on the trip, and if you don't, you're gonna live in an uninhabitable environment in like a freaking.
And unless you can do
what is the point of
the
this?
math like Matt Damon in The Martian, you're going to be screwed if you can't grow food
Right.
Yeah, he'd be totally host.
Who wants to live on Mars?
Are you familiar with the song Rocket Man by Elton John? Are you familiar with
Do you know who Elton John is?
Running on the streets of heaven.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, no, that's it. That's Rocket Man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen the movie The Martian with Matt Damon? I believe he was
Do
nominated.
you know
for
who
an
Matt
Oscar.
Damon is?
Yes.
Okay. Just
Actually, isn't Matt Damon kind of attractive?
actually,
I think to most
he's a
people.
hottie. Yeah.
Mm.
Have you seen
Is
Goodwill
he the one
Hunting?
that's in Magic Mike?
No, that's
No,
Jason,
that's
Channing Tatum.
No, you guys.
Oh,
I'm gonna
Matthew McConaughey.
All right.
Matthew
all right.
McConaughey is much different than Matt Damon.
Yeah,
Both
Matt Damon was
good
not
looking.
in Magic Mike.
No, he could. I mean,
Oh no, he wasn't.
He was in Jason
he's in-
Bourne.
he was in
all the
Goodwill.
Bourne movies. And
Oh
Goodwill
yes,
Hunting.
yes, but I do
She
know
has
Matt
not seen
Damon. I'm
Goodwill
thinking
Hunting.
of somebody else, but there is another guy.
Yes, you're thinking of Matthew McConaughey.
No, I'm not, I know
He
who
was in
Matt,
Magic Mike.
I understand that, but I know who he is. I'm not
And
getting
you know
him
Channing
confused.
Tatum from the dance movies.
Yeah, Step Up.
Right, Step Up.
Liv,
yeah.
do you know? We have a question. Do you know who Biggie is? Do you know who Notorious B.I.G. is?
Biggie Smalls.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same guy.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you know any of us have of his work?
I'm not a title person.
Okay, that's cool.
The same way, like I don't know names, but I know faces.
You definitely know some of Biggie's songs because you will have heard them.
Yeah.
Biggie, Biggie, Biggie. Can't
Yeah, there you go. That's one of the
see?
songs.
Sometimes your words just hypnotize me.
I
Yeah.
just love your
Flashy ways. Yeah,
This
I
is
do
why
know.
they
I do
broke
know
in your
music, you
soul.
guys. Just not old people music.
Okay, that is old people music.
Well, I like swaggy old
That
people
song came
music.
out in the mid '90s.
Yeah, I know. It's funny that that's old people music now.
Well, if it happened before I was born, I consider it old.
I get it.
Do you guys know who Fergie is?
Yeah.
Yeah, from the Black Eyed
Big
Peas.
girls don't cry.
Yeah.
It's a great song.
I know stuff.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah,
stuff.
Fergie is.
I was trying
Is
to
she one
stump
of your
you.
all-time favorites?
No, I just.
Did
was
you
trying
hear
to
her
stump
sing
you.
the
The other
national
members of
anthem
the
that
Black
time?
Eyed Peas.
Of course, I heard her sing the national anthem, and I wish I had.
Say, can you see?
You give us a line from the national anthem. Let's see how good of a singer you are.
I'm
You
not
got to
that good
start
a
low
singer.
when you do the national anthem because you're gonna get really
Yeah.
high. It gets
If you
really
start
high.
high,
Yeah, if you start with
If you
Home
start
of
high,
the
you're
Brave.
screwed. Yeah.
Give us a tester.
See. You got to start
Give
there.
us a
Yeah, you start-
sample.
oh, yeah, I can't even.
Oh,
I need to- what is that? I need to-
see by the dawn's early light?
That's how it's saying.
He was trying to blame it.
held by
Hey,
the
did you hear
twilight
that?
last.
He was trying to
Cleaning
blame it
I
on the
need-
fact that he
I
didn't
need-
have an earpiece. He goes, I need an earpiece.
No, not an earpiece, like a thing to get the
The-
note. Like,
Oh.
or I need that so I can get the right note.
So yeah, I know stuff. Don't worry about me.
Can you name other members of the Black Eyed Peas?
Will I am.
Well, I'm not.
Will I am.
Nobody knows the other guys.
Fergie.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are kind of like the two people
Just the
that
weird
most
guys.
people
that are
know.
like,
Yeah, the ones that are just bebopping
good.
around.
SNL sketch where he's like, he's on the cover of Vaguely Asian magazine. The one dude. It's an episode of SNL where Andy Samberg's playing the dude with the long straight hair whose name I don't remember.
But
The
the
one
song
guy's
"Where
name is-
Where's
you
the
didn't know
Love"
that.
is their best song. I
That
really.
is a great song.
And you know who guest appearance on that song? Do you know who sings that chorus with Fergie?
The one that goes, "What's wrong with the world, mama?"
But that's a verse. But the chorus, like,
I know, but is that the one who's singing that part?
no,
that the person you're
Justin
talking about?
Timberlake
Justin Timberlake.
sings the hook on that song.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, he does. He does.
But you do know who Justin
is-
Timberlake is?
Yeah.
Because his band was really big
He's
in the
bringing
90s.
sexy back.
Do you know who New Kids on the Block is?
I've heard of them. But
NKOTB.
what kind of songs do they like? What are their songs?
Hanging Tough.
Hanging Tough, the right
This is a
Stuff.
boy band. It's kind of corny.
They were
music.
before NSYNC, before
Yeah, they're the
Backstreet Boys.
Backstreet
Also, rest
Boys.
in peace, Liam Payne.
Yes,
Oh,
rest in
no.
peace. That was pretty
Brutal.
tragic.
I think death just doesn't bother him the
Pretty
way it
tragic.
It
bothers
does.
me.
It was very sad.
Did you cry?
I did not.
When's the last time you cried, BK?
I don't know. Friday, Saturday.
Why'd you
Well,
cry?
you lost a bet.
I don't know. Probably. I got in a fight with my wife about something. I don't know.
Do you cry when you fight with your wife?
I shed a tear a little.
Big gulp.
I was at a funeral yesterday, and I think that I teared up a little bit.
Oh
during
well,
that, so-
hello. See, he just
But I
skims
don't know-
past
Yeah.
death. Like, yes, of course you cried. You were at a
Yeah, but I
funeral.
don't know Liam Payne, so I'm sorry for his friends and family and all of his many fans.
No,
I
of
saw where
course.
Harry Styles had a lovely tribute to his former bandmate.
It's a sad time. When was the last time you cried?
Probably when my daughter was born.
That's
And
a good
actually
one.
not even just when she was born. There's been several times like in the like when it's just me and her where like she's just so
Perfect.
perfect and precious that like I
No,
tear up.
I cried twice Friday. Now that I think about it, I cried when I was making a Facebook post for my oldest turning 18, and then when he read it because he's not on Facebook, and he started crying, and I started crying when we were at dinner.
Oh.
And then the bill came and I cried a third time. But that's my fault for
Bill came and he started bawling hysterically.
for getting us reservations at a really good restaurant in Breckenridge. So.
Well, that was nice of you, though.
Yeah.
Do you want to take me there for my birthday?
No, but I will tell people they should take you there.
What's the restaurant?
It's called Radicado. Matt Vaughter, who just won the James Beard Award for his other restaurant, Rootstock in Breckenridge. He's a guy that is from Breckenridge, like our pal Connor McGahee. They went to high school together at the high school there in Frisco, Dillon, Breck, whatever that high school's called. Connor McGahee, voice of the Avs and the stadium at the Broncos. Matt trained in Denver, worked at a bunch of great restaurants, opened 2 restaurants in Breck, and wins the James Beard Award as the best chef in the Southwest region.
Wow.
Good
or whatever
for him.
region.
What kind of food
it
is
was
it?
yummy food.
As good Italian food as you'll have. And I've had people from the East Coast, from New York, from Jersey, that have been out there, and they're like, put it up against any place back east. It's that good. And it was just not
better than Buca di Beppo.
Slightly.
Maggiano.
Listen,
Maggiano's good hit.
Maggiano's hits sometimes.
Yeah.
Every once in a while.
You're not gonna hear me complain about Maggiano's. So you can get the food to go to. It's great.
Why is there no like because there's Taco Bell and there's like why Panda Express?
They got rid
why
of
is there no, I guess
Fazoli's.
Sbarro is.
They got rid of Fazoli's.
Yeah.
Fazoli's was the fast food Italian, and they got rid of it.
Noodles and Company will have a couple of Italian choices.
That ain't Italian though.
No,
Noodles-
Fazoli's had the best baked ziti.
I just think it's hard
on
to do.
the planet.
I think it's hard to do that food
Ever.
super fast.
Yeah.
You know what else they got rid of? And I've had it up to here with this one. I was just talking about this with a friend. Where the F did all the Boston markets go? Because I used to F up a rotisserie chicken with some freaking cornbread,
They had
some
some good size.
freaking mac and
Good size,
cheese.
really
I
good
mean,
size.
oh
Well, one of them
my
here,
gosh.
right down the street from us is
They're all closed in
Native
Colorado.
Roots. The one down on Arapahoe, I don't know what that is now, but
Boston market just hit. It just hit so different.
Yeah.
well,
And I
can
actually
go to
read
the grocery store and
online,
get a rotisserie
They
chicken.
went into some, like they weren't paying their bills, so they went into some bankruptcy.
they're-
They had to file for bankruptcy. There's only like 20 locations
Weren't
in the
paying their
U.S. total.
bills?
But I think that's the answer.
I know where it went, but I'm pissed
Okay.
about it.
Yeah.
Don't you know what?
Is there like a newer version of Boston
That's
Market?
what I'm
Like,
saying.
what's
If
the
there's
next-
not going to be
Whole
Boston
Foods,
Market,
just go to
we
the
need
grocery store.
Whole Foods.
They have
No,
chickens.
not the same.
They
I could
have
stay in my
no
car
sides,
and
yeah.
just drive. Come on,
I get it.
untouched.
Why did,
Rotisserie chicken, cornbread, and mac and cheese. F it up.
there was a Burger King pretty close to the Broncos. It's now a
Nobody
Oil change
cares about
place.
Burger King.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that Burger King I used to hit that though, right by the Broncos
Burger
facility.
King, Burger King and Wendy's are both right there. You could hit.
Yeah.
Favorite fast food? 3, 2, 1.
I don't know. I used to be a Jack in the Box guy because
Yeah.
growing up in California, there was one right by my house. and
There's a
we
lot
always-
of Jack in the Boxes in California.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
a
hit
bunch
that
in
late
Texas
night.
too.
McDonald's,
There's one by the airport.
McDonald's is great if
McDonald's
it's,
fries.
if they care about what they're making.
If you're not getting them at closing time,
Yeah,
fries. double
something
quarter
about a
pounder, or-
crispy freaking Sprite with some freaking fake meat and some freaking French fries.
They're
Frick.
using real meat now. It's the whole thing. Arby's sandwiches are hard to beat. I like an Arby's.
I'm
roast
not an
beef.
Arby's guy.
We
for
have the
record-
meats.
for the
Dun,
record,
dun, dun.
any of these great fast food.
Roast beef. Of course, you like a roast
No.
beef.
Anybody
Arby's is hard to beat.
anybody that would like to sponsor our show, we are available.
Oh, yeah.
And many shows at Gorilla. I realize, obviously, we're shouting at our friends at Viva and all of that, but
And the baking room.
and the baking room. But McDonald's, especially, we would love to work with them. But any of these fine
Or
establishments,
apparently
brands.
a roast beef sandwich. Could I?
Yeah,
do a good
Arby's.
trick
Their
for,
corporates in Golden.
Taco Bell hits too.
Taco Bell, good.
Taco Bell's good.
Have you ever had a Mexican pizza from Taco
Oh
Bell?
yeah,
Holy sh!
they don't make those anymore though. Do
I
they?
think they do.
Okay, they
They
brought,
brought
them
them
back.
back.
Yeah,
They didn't for a while.
yeah. The Mexican pizzas are really good.
Insane.
Have you had the beef Mexi melt?
No.
That was a good one.
That was a good one. I think that got discontinued as well.
Yeah, that one.
Back
We
in the
used to have
day.
Taco Bell at our high school. Like they bring it in.
Yeah.
Now they just have Taco Bells in high school. If you see some of that stuff in Dallas,
insane.
it's
That's
wild.
You wonder
Crazy.
why these kids are having health issues.
We
Soda
wonder why
pop.
there's a fat crisis.
Yeah.
In-N-Out Burger is hard to beat that burger. And I grew up in Texas where everybody loves Whataburger, which is fine. I like In-N-Out's burger about as well as anybody.
Yeah.
I'm in the mood for In-N-Out sometimes, and those burgers hit when I'm in the mood. But I gotta say, like a juicy Five Guys.
Five Guys.
The fried.
And I know they're expensive.
Five
I
people.
know Five
it's
Guys
five
is
people now.
expensive,
It is.
but you do get way more fries than you pay for. They
Yeah,
fill that whole
yeah,
damn bag
yeah.
up. Their fries are great. I love the malt vinegar that you can dip your fries into, and their burgers to me are like. I
I
actually might get one for
Do you
lunch.
get
like
the bacon on it?
I get everything on it.
What else is everything?
lettuce,
like everything that
tomato,
have- yeah,
mustard,
yeah.
extra
Onions.
onion.
I don't like onions on.
I can eat an onion like an apple. I love
Can you?
onion.
Gross.
Oh yes, I
Wow.
love onion
Interesting.
and green onion.
I like Shake Shack
Love.
a lot. I will say this: the Shake Shack in the New Orleans airport, their efficiency is very low. I ordered a breakfast sandwich. Took them 18 minutes to make a
Oh wow.
egg, sausage, cheese on the bun that's obviously already
Was there a big line?
No, there were like 6 people in front of me. I'm watching the order. I'm like, what is taking so long?
What's going
And I
on here?
almost missed my flight.
Oh
You
really?
know what I love? We have 1,400 people right
listening
now
to
listening to us talk
yeah.
about fast food, and they're still just hanging out. Hi guys, we love you.
We should give our
sometimes
pick-
we,
let's-
I think
so-
sometimes we forget we're like
that we're
we
doing
just
a
we just
show.
sit here and
We
just
should-
like yeah.
All right, so we both pick Chargers. Who do you like Chargers cards?
Well, because I'm gonna bet on what I want to happen. I'm gonna say Cardinals.
That's the
money
best
line.
way to bet. That's what everyone always says. Just bet on what you want to happen.
No, you. Hey, Mr. Sarcasm. Let me tell you something. All right.
I'm betting on the Jayhawks to win every game in every sport.
No, I think that with Marvin Harrison Jr. coming
Okay.
back, I think that there's a chance. They're at home. This could be one where the Chargers kind of let their guard down a little bit. And the Cardinals, I think when you have Kyler Murray, you really can't count him out. So
he's been playing.
I'm gonna go ahead and
Okay.
say Cardinals money line.
All right, and then Ravens Buccaneers. That game.
Well, in that
where
one,
is
it's
that game?
interesting.
Yeah,
that
where is
is
that?
that
I mean,
is
not that the Bucs have some
that's
huge
in
fans,
Tampa Bay.
Okay.
And
Any
the
weather?
Ravens are on the road, obviously, and they're 4-point
Okay,
favorites.
weather.
So I could even see it. Maybe you take the home underdog
Home
to
dogs
cover.
always- I would
Yeah.
love
Maybe not to
betting
win
on home
outright,
dogs.
but to at least have it be a field goal game. I could see that. So
Got any anytime touchdowns? I like Derrick Henry to score. I know it's bold.
Is Tampa Bay 5-1?
no, they're 4-2.
4-2.
They lost that
Both
Atlanta
these
game.
teams
Oh,
are
yeah.
4-2.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, the Tampa's played pretty well. The Broncos rolled them.
Yep.
But other than that, they've been pretty good. I see the Ravens covering.
Winning and covering.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. Playing really good right now.
Primetime underdogs, especially home underdogs, typically have some value to them. If you were to bet those all season long, you'd probably up units for sure.
No weather. You're in the 70s at kickoff.
Wow.
77. No weather.
So then, yeah, I mean, if anything,
It's hard to pick against the Ravens, but I don't. think-
totals 49.5. If anything, I would just take the over in that one.
Antoine Winfield's back. He didn't play against the Broncos. Vita Vea's back. You've got Evans and Godwin. If Rashad White ends up playing, then you're even more dynamic with he and Bucky Irving. So I think that it won't surprise me, but I'm not going to pick the Bucs to win. I'll pick the Ravens to win.
Well, and Vita Vea saying questionable right now.
okay, that if Vita Vea
And
doesn't
Rashad
play,
White is questionable.
Rashad White doesn't hurt him as much. Not having Vita Vea against Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, but specifically Derrick Henry running the ball, you're in trouble. So if Vita Vea plays, it's interesting. If he doesn't, I give the Bucs no chance.
And if one game's not good, you can flip to the other one.
Do we like that they're only an hour and 15 minutes apart? I almost wish they were like
I wish they were a little bit further apart.
it's maybe a little easier for us to say because we're not
Mountain time. Yeah, mountain time's like prime because we're not up too late.
versus if it's
Except when the Buffs play at 8:15, and I'm freaking struggling to stay awake on the couch like at 11.
well they're playing at
something.
8:15 again.
Yeah,
this
that
week?
I know.
ridiculous.
It's stupid.
They should have that game over by halftime. Shout out
So
to the
for-
Bucs, by the way. Good bounce back.
Great win
Yeah.
for them, and honestly,
CSU 4-3 now. They
have
beat Air
to
Force.
have to sit here and give credit where it's due. I mean, for the Colorado Buffaloes to have ended their season so poorly, and for Coach Prime to be able to kind of shake that off, have some short-term memory, and get these guys back on track this year has been pretty cool to see. So I've enjoyed watching them. I'm not like a diehard CU fan. I never will be, but it's obviously cool to see kind of I more sometimes get impressed by just the culture he was able to bring to Boulder, because if you knew Boulder before Coach Prime, it was very granola, very
Still
your
is.
dogs are out, you're wearing tie-dye shirts, and
Still
it
is.
still is. But I do like some of when I was doing some sideline stuff for Guerrilla Sports actually at the CU football game when they played Baylor, even just the pregame music, I was like,
Sure.
all right, there's a little
All the
there's a little
NBA
swag
guys
in here,
showing
and I like
up
that. Mhm.
In Florida, Rick Ross and DJ Khaled. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
cool.
And with that has come a lot of money to that program,
Yep.
and to that school, and to
Yep.
that community.
Yep.
Enrollment's up.
Huge, a lot of attention. Will they get $40 million to keep Travis Hunter? I guess we'll find out.
40.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
We will have some more shows up off field this week where we can dive a little bit more into the Broncos. Obviously, they had their mini bye week this
It's going to be
weekend.
hard to get really into the X's and O's against such a bad team. It's like just do what you're supposed to do, which is
Correct.
that's the difference between this team and other teams that we've seen in recent years. Is in close games they're playing tough and they're doing what they're supposed to do against bad teams, against the Raiders who were beat up, against a JV version of the Saints last week, kicking those teams in the rear end and just rolling through and being done with it. And they're still, knock on wood, relatively healthy, getting healthier in spots. So
yep. I just want to see Bo take some steps.
You'd love to see Bo have a game like Russ had last night.
I want to see Bo deal from in the pocket, shut up some people who are talking about his accuracy and that he can't throw and this and that. There's a lot of people harping on the negatives, and that was mostly in the first drive. He missed some open receivers in the first drive. He was a little skittish, but who cares? They won 33-3. Let's be positive about where we're going with this stuff. To me, the stuff Bo's not doing well, you can work on.
Yeah.
The stuff that he does well is instinctive, and you can't teach that. Getting out of the pocket, doing stuff with his legs, you can't teach that. And so I think Bo, his trajectory is going like this.
And Sean talked about today in his conference call about Bo's speed and athleticism. He said it's a little better than we even thought.
Yeah.
Once he got here, and that he's like, and that's just a weapon. Doesn't mean they're going to go full RPO and or run like what Washington's running and expose him. Because I think Sean does look at the numbers and understands that long term that's just not sustainable. But on 3rd and 4 or on 2nd and 8, and he gets out and can use his legs to make it either a first down or a manageable 3rd down. That was the one thing that Sean brought up in the post game, that you had to go back and think, like, they never really were in 3rd and long last week.
Yeah.
And when you don't have to worry about your 3rd and long play sheet or play calls, it's gonna be a good day.
Love it. Okay, well, this has been another episode of Off Field. Thanks for sitting and listening to us yap, and we'll have some more episodes for you this week. Talking all things
Wednesday and Friday.
Wednesday, Friday, all things Denver Broncos for you. We'll be here, and then we'll also have a post-game live reaction Sunday like we always do. I will actually be at that game, so we'll do what I did last time and hopefully leave with a little bit of time to rush over here. And
that game will be well in hand.
We're all going to be there at that game, you guys.
I know.
You can hold
I would love for us to do our show there.
That would be cool.
That'd be really cool. So anyway,
it cost a few $1 million, but
we'll figure it out. We'll be back with some more off field for you guys. I'm Liv Moods. This is BK. That's Nate Jackson. We love you lots. Let's go Broncos, and we will see you Wednesday. Bye-bye.
Bye.